Hi, this is Deborah Atkinson, and you're listening to the Voice for Fitness Professionals podcast, the place to get marketing and sales information. And today, in particular, to get information about how to build the business that you love with the revenue that you want, along with the freedom to spend your time the way you want to, as opposed to working coast to coast. Today, joined by Dr. Tony Rump, who graduated from Life University College of Chiropractic in Atlanta, Georgia. Dr. Tony is licensed to practice chiropractic in several states. He's been in private practice since 1991. After his daughter tore both her ACLs, he transformed his practice in life into a functional wellness practice. In Dr. Tony's private practice, he combined quantum neurology, clinical nutrition, and chiropractic for the benefits of his clients. While speaking and caring for entrepreneurs and others, Dr. Tony noticed the health of these high achievers was not a priority. Seeing the hardships these entrepreneurs go through was troubling. Dr. Tony then created the Entrepreneur Summit, Health, Wealth, and Sanity. This summit is bringing together many differing approaches from top entrepreneurs and wellness care in. Let me try that again. This summit is bringing together many differing approaches from top performers in the entrepreneur and wellness care arena. The purpose of the Entrepreneur Summit, Health, Wealth, and Sanity is to create a space where an entrepreneur can discover many tools and shortcuts. Tools and shortcuts will assist or aid in your journey toward fulfilling your mission, facilitating you to become empowered advocates of your own health, healing, and increased profits. His passion is increasing life in your years. Tony, thanks so much for being here today.
Wow, thank you. Thank you. I'm loving this. Thanks.
So much to say about you, and you can see my tongue tripped over it, but we made it. We got through the other side. Tell us a little bit about your career path. And I think you've hinted to it in your bio and your background, but I'm going to guess that maybe there's a story there for you too. There quite often is. I mean, did you find your own self falling into that trap of not taking care of yourself?
Absolutely. You know, I've been in practice now going on 26 years, actually entering my 27th year. And for 15 years of that, it was always about a number. So I was a high volume traditional chiropractor. And throughout the first 15 years, it was always about a number. I was always bragging to my colleagues how many people I'd seen that day. But one day my wife asked me to stop and get something at the store. So I stopped and ran in the store quick after I was done practicing. And a client of mine came up and said, "Nice seeing you, Tony, today. You had a great adjustment." And I didn't know who he was. So that really got me thinking, do I really want to just be a herder or I want to be a healer? So I started really looking at myself, and I started praying a lot and going down that path and looking inside. And when you start looking, sometimes you find things, most times. And about this time, my daughter tore her left ACL as a freshman in high school playing basketball. Not a big deal, but it is a big deal. She had never had a pill, potion, nothing. Never even went to the doctor, no vaccinations or nothing. And that's just how we raised our kids. And we had to decide what to do about this because we knew the reconstruction surgery was medical procedures. We knew not that they're bad, but that was an emergency situation. So we had the surgery done, and it was like a gut check for me. So I was looking for other ways. So I was looking for laser lights to heal her, all kinds of things. And that's when I started looking at nutrition to help her out, exercises to help her out. And I started digging into a functional wellness situation. Well, that ACL took 6 months, 48 therapy visits, all kinds of stuff, mental issues with my daughter. And she came out of it good. Women are tougher. Girls are a heck of a lot tougher than guys will ever be. but so she got released to play in the middle of the summer. She went through her volleyball season and she started playing basketball again. And within the same calendar year, she tore her right ACL.
Oh,
yeah, that was a kick in the gut.
Yeah.
But I had learned I was in the process of learning this technique on functional wellness, where if we just remove the blockages in the body heals itself. So we had the second surgery. It was actually worse, but we started connecting the nervous system throughout this whole process immediately. And her second surgery was 8 visits and 3 months to full strength. So then, it was like powerful, and I cut it down in half. And therapy visits at that time was $250 a visit. And anybody that has kids, grandkids, knows that money isn't the object. We'll throw it down to help our kids, and we did. But then once I figured out that there's other techniques and functional wellness things, I started really helping other people in like quantum neurology and clinical nutrition, just getting the body to do what the body does, and that's heal. So that's how it started, the functional wellness thing. And throughout this time, you're right, there was a ton of personal development going on. I did John Maxwell certified training. I went to all kinds of self-development seminars and neuro-emotional techniques and when I was looking and thinking about this summit and thinking about this interview, the one thing that really struck me was what really changed my path. And it was once I started working on myself. So fast forward, I started working with our local chamber, started doing a lot of outside talks with them and traveling, doing talks with business entrepreneurs, and they don't take very good care of themselves. Like our conversations earlier, it's 60, 70, 80 hours a week and drive-through meals and sedentary lifestyle, and it's all about getting their projects done. So I started, part of my talking and consulting these people, these entrepreneurs, a special breed of people, actually, I love them, is they have to take care of themselves. Otherwise, they have to pay for that down the road, and they don't get to enjoy the fruits of all their labors. So long story short, that was how I got into this.
Yeah, wow. Very powerful, and almost probably more powerful that it happened with your daughter than had it happened to you personally, right?
Yeah, you talk about redefining your mission. I was at both of the games, and the first time, I always say I was just a chiropractor. As much as I adjusted her, that wasn't going to heal her ACL tear. Her second one, I think I beat her to the floor. I carried her off. I started treating her immediately in the training room. And I just remember the athletic trainer was standing there saying, "What the hell did you just do?" Because she got up, she was walking normally, no pain, but it was just a totally different person that was applying these techniques. And that was the start of it all.
Wow. So in giving birth to this summit, or this idea that you're gonna bring together entrepreneurs and give them something, what's your mission?
My mission is, like always, I want to add life to people. I want to add life to their years. And I can see where and you know this in your business and your mission, that if people don't take care of themselves first, they can't give, or they can't give what they don't have. So if they don't have health, they're out of balance. And when it comes time, they're going to put these 80, 90-hour weeks in to get a thriving business. And when they get to thriving businesses, then they're going to have to pay the piper on their own health. So they have to create that balance early on. And once they create that balance early on, then when they have this thriving business and they're getting the fruits of their labor, then they can enjoy that with their family and friends. Because believe me, I know the out of balance thing. For the first 15 years, I was way out of balance, and it's not very fun for anyone.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree with that. Could you say, Tony, what's the biggest kind of collective challenge that you hear repeated by entrepreneurs?
They always say they want to have less stress. And I think there's and that's one of my questions, as you know, in the summit, I interviewed you, and you did a great job, by the way. You knocked it out of the park. So it's always about, they always want less stress and more time. And that's where the balance comes from. So that, as you remember, I asked you the question, how do you deal with the stressor? And that is the reason why. And it comes back to, we have stress because we have love in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny enough, in my clinical practice, across the road is a cemetery. So I always tell people when they come in that I don't want no stress in my life. I said, well, then you need to go across the street, because that's where there's no stress. It makes my
Got the wrong address.
Yeah, right. Right. Turn right, not left. But it makes my point. We should enjoy that we have the stress. We just need to manage it and be in balance with it.
Yeah, so love that. And you've been in business long enough. You can probably look at this. What's connectivity done for us? Technology and the internet, social media.
Well, we communicate more, but we connect less. How's that? There's
perfect.
There's a huge amount of benefit to touching, to eye contact, to handshaking, to hugging. And with heck, my kids used to sit around and say they're watching TV and studying, and they would be talking to each other on the same sofa. I mean, it's just crazy where it's gone. And it's, I just think that sometimes the phone needs to be put down and we need to have a conversation, heart to heart, soul to soul.
Yeah, I love that. I find that so interesting. I work with a lot of healthcare administrators, and ironically, there they are delivering, servicing other people, but to look back and reflect and care for themselves, really hard for them.
Yes. They're such givers, and they have this passion and this mission oriented, and you just can't keep giving without replenishing. And I think
love that idea.
Yeah, I mean, and that's one of the things when I went through the John Maxwell certification program, they really opened my eye that if we don't take care of ourselves, we can never take care of somebody else.
Very true. I've got a question for you. Are you finding any gender bias? Males or females have a harder time with this, male or female entrepreneurs in particular?
They both have their own imbalances. How's that? And I'm trying to be politically correct, although I'm not the least bit politically correct. I think women care more about their families, and they care more about that kind of thing, and the balance, and so they're more apt to change, and they're more apt to create change. Men are more like a bull in a china closet. They just want to get it done. They don't at all costs. So sometimes that is a difference. Like I guess it's a difference in men and women, basically. Love them both. Let's be clear. I love them both.
Okay. So give us a little peek behind the curtain for the summit. So obviously all I know is about our conversation. So who else will listeners be privy to, and what were some stories that really stuck out for you, some messages that you can remember as highlights that you might tease?
Oh, wow. Great question. Your interview was one of my favorites, so thank you for that.
I'm not paying you to say that either, just listeners, okay?
I'm donating this whole check, by the way, this whole payment. One of my favorite interviews was Jane Barlow Christensen. She took over an herb company, Barlow Herbs, in out west in Colorado, or Utah it was. And she talks about her dad and her dad and growing up and learning from her dad about herbs and then her leaving a triple digit or a 6-digit income corporate job to take over her family business that was pretty much done. They were ready to close the doors, and now it's like worldwide business. And she talks about the steps she had to do and and the decisions she had to make. Now she has her kids with her, and that was like so inspiring and so interesting to me how she took the initiative and had the guts to do that. And now she's just living by her passion. And she was just such a pure soul. That was one of my favorite. I mean, that just I think we learn a lot by other people's stories. So that's part of the whole program here. And then another one, Jessica Phillips is a social media. She's a friend of mine. She's from my local area here in the Midwest, Ohio. Go Buckeyes. She talks about how to become a magnet marketer instead of a bullhorn marketer, meaning how to attract people instead of always yelling at people. And her path was, she started this company 5 years ago. Now she just grows and grows and grows with that one concept that it's about relationships and building relationships over time. And that was a powerful, but we all know Mary Agnes Anatopoulos.
Yeah.
And she talked about writing a book and leading the corporate world into following your passion and the struggles that caused and how she overcome it. And we all know Mary Agnes, or if you don't, you should.
Right.
What a big heart that lady has. I mean, that I learned so much from like yourself, and these people, they really give of themselves to follow a passion and a mission. Now, what more does this world need, really? That's how the world is going to change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's the balance again, right? So I love what you said, but I want to add this about Mary Agnes. What a heart, but what a brain. She's the whole deal, right? And that's, I think, where, anybody listening to this is right there. You've got the heart, you've got the brain, you kind of got to put them together in a way that does create the balance for you. So it's not just you've got all these skills, you've got all this knowledge, and you've got to go 100 miles an hour 24/7. You've got to figure out how to take care of your heart as well as, put the passion into your work. And I think that's the juggle and the struggle, because we do love what we're doing. So many of us were maybe already in that spot where we're in a service industry. We love what we're doing so much that we're all too tempted to work coast to coast, burn the candle at both ends and burn out.
Exactly. And another thing, just to add on to that, early on in my career, I had a mentor that said, he told this story about standing on top of a car with the car keys in your hand, yelling to anybody that would listen that these keys will start that car. And just yelling, these keys will start that car. But nobody knew it until he actually took the action and started the car. So the point of the story was, sure, you can have the best intentions, sure, you can have all this stuff, but until you act on your ideas, that's when things really start happening. And I love that story because it's about action. So we can have big hearts, and we all do. And I commend you to have a passion and a mission, but then there has to be an action involved also. And that's part of this program also, how to do that action.
Love that. And I think sometimes that's the myth, that we're going to go into this profession or vocation that we actually love. And we love this piece of it, but we want to mimic often what we've seen, or we by default fall into, well, this is the way it's always been done, so this is the way that I have to do it, as opposed to walking your own path in that authentic piece. And that may be where you figure out there is a way to do this with balance. It doesn't have to be done the way it's always been done.
No, I love adventure. I love the thought of somebody taking an idea and looking at, and that's what part of this is. I got 35 speakers, 35 interviews, and they're from all different parts of the world and parts of the professions, MDs, athletic trainers, physical therapists, DCs, neuropaths, business entrepreneurs. There's even a guy that can get your credit score changed. I mean, I'm thinking of what an entrepreneur may need, and I ask him to be on it. We're just having a blast. I'm sure somebody needs some credit somewhere, but
Exactly.
but the whole point is that's if you don't know what you're about, who you are, and they take these ideas and they run with it. They got these niches, and it's like, let's pull them together and see, and we can help people just by telling each other our stories and our paths.
And I think you just touched on something, maybe without realizing it. For listeners, if you didn't hear it clearly, I think a big piece of this is collaboration. Yeah. And, part of the being authentic and finding balance is about asking for help, as opposed to thinking we should already have the answers. And you don't want to embarrass ourselves by, asking, how did someone else do this? Or, asking for help, saying, I'm stuck, here's where I'm at. Yeah, right. And I think we get out of balance doing that too. We keep thinking we've got to do it ourselves. We've got to prove something, and that we even can do it ourselves. Once we start asking for help, actually, I think that's where the magic happens.
I guarantee you that, Deborah. When part of my first 15 years, I thought I was on an island and I had to change the world myself. That, come hell or high water, I'm going to be at the office. I'm going to adjust these people. I'm the only one that can adjust them. I'm the only one, blah, blah, blah. I had to be Superman. But once I got out of that bubble, and it was driven by my daughter's injuries, I have no doubt that the universe, so now I pray differently because I don't want nobody hurt when the universe has a lesson for me. But anyway, but once I got out of that bubble and out of my little box, and I started seeing other people, there's like you have such a beautiful soul and you have a passion to help people in your niche, and they're all over. I mean, they're everywhere. And I want to bring them together so hard-nosed people can see that there are other people that want to give of themselves to help other people. So that was inspiring. And Mary Agnes jumped on. She said, let's do this, Tony.
Yeah, so needed. Absolutely. I think so many people out there trying to, make their mark in the world and not seeing that there are other people who actually want to help them make that mark in the world, that it's not just a world of competition, but of collaboration. And that's where we all stand to win.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah, big part of, I think I was right there with you. Your first 15 years and mine too, feeling like I had to do this all myself and I had to do all the work, and it's been such a relief, but it's a big learning curve to step back and ask for help and admit, I don't have all the answers.
Well, hell, I have a tough time asking for directions yet. I don't even want to turn the GPS on.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but that's like a male genetic disorder.
Is it? I did not know that. Yeah. That makes me feel better. That's probably the only genetic disorder I have.
I'm just saying. I heard that. Yeah.
We'll talk to my wife. I'm sure she has a list.
Let's tell everybody the dates for the summit and best place to go to stay tuned so that they can get updates about how to register and save their spot.
Oh, great. Thank you for that. My personal website, I'll have a link posted on it. It's www.docrump.com. docrump.com. It's going to start the first Monday in May. And then it's going to be released that whole week, all 7 days. There's going to be 5 speakers per day. So it's a big one. So every day you're going to get another influx of speakers talking about what their niche is and how to get in contact with them. And most of them have a free gift for us, for the attendees. I mean, it's a big thing. And I'm so excited because, it's one thing just to compile this, but everybody was so giving with free gifts and free ebooks and worksheets and free coaching, all kinds of things. So I really want people to get a ton of value for this. And the relationships that I built, like you and I, Deborah, the relationships that we built, that's what gets me going. That's what floats my boat. So that's what I learned. But first week in May, drump.com to answer your question.
And everybody listening, that link will be in the show notes. So if you're listening in the middle of a commute or a workout, even better, you can grab this afterward. And Tony, last but not least, is there a question you wish I would have asked you?
Oh, geez, Deborah.
No.
I really don't know. I think you did a great job. Maybe let me ask you this. What did you think of the summit questions, and what did you think of your interview and the concepts of the summit?
I think the concept of the summit is just spot on. And I think what I love about it is this is an anomaly. So most of the things we're listening to are related to us personally, as far as what is it like to deal with thyroid disease, or, what about my gut health? And let's see, what else have I listened to recently? But a lot of things about, just me. And I think this is an issue that's kind of under a rock. It's so true when you get a bunch of entrepreneurs together, we're relieved to be around someone who gets it, someone else who understands what we're going through. And yet no one is really doing what you're doing, Tony. So I think, the fact that, hey, we've got to take this meta view of us, of ourselves, as we're going out there with our own message to help other people, and realize we're not immune to some of the things that we're trying to share with other people. That's, I think, the huge insight. And it's a relief when you bring it out in the open and you talk about it. Everybody's got these issues. Let's figure out how we do it better.
That's exactly right. Thank you for that. And my guiding philosophy, my guiding principle in my life is that the body can heal itself. It just has to have the connections to the nervous system, to the source, so it can default to health. So I have 3 tools in my office. I'm pretty good at it, but I know that I only have a piece of the pie. There's so many other pieces, and I want to bring all the pieces together so somebody can just say, that's the piece I need, and go follow and be part of that person, or it's exercise and that type of thing. So that's what happened. So that's how it all got started.
Very cool. Tony, thanks so much for being here. Can't wait to have the summit launched and share all the information with fellow entrepreneurs. And if you have a question, leave it below the show link, and love hearing from you. If this episode is helpful, please leave a rating in iTunes and then share it with a friend, and surround yourself with a supportive community of entrepreneurs on the same journey. And to get the most from this week's episode, check out the show notes and be sure that you get all the links to any of the juicy resources that we've mentioned, and go out there and make a difference.